Greetings, everybody. Hey, this is DJ Adam 01 Time. Hey, we had a great time last night. That intro there, that's the Doc Smirnov over there at the campus, man. It got a little out of hand. His wife was explaining me the technique of the one-eyed snake handshake. Yeah, we had a lot of good time over there last night. So we're going to touch on the interview here with Walter Balzik of Littlefield Grid. It's a great interview. We go from everything from BDSM to Littlefield Grid to the name of it, the Firestorm viewer, Singularity viewer, support, scripting, you name it. We go from one end to the other. And you want to know what? He doesn't hold nothing back. And I think it was a great interview. Let's go check out this wonderful interview. And good morning, everybody. Coming to you from, of course, the top of the Space Needle over here at 8-Tech Grid. We have the wonderful owner, Walter. I hope I say this right. Balzik? Did I say it right, or is it Balzik? How do you pronounce that, Walter?
I have no idea, to be honest.
Okay, well, just say hi to everybody out here.
Walter's fine. I have no idea. It's an old SL name, and I have no idea how it's actually pronounced.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. I'll tell you what, then. I'm going to let people know about you. You are the grid owner of Littlefield Grid.
One of them, yes.
One of them. Oh, okay. You might want to speak up just a tad for me.
Okay. Actually, we have 5 owners in total. It's myself, Dirk Mathers, Ashton Nobilis, Cameron Darkstone, and Toy McBride.
Oh, my. The Fantastic Five. Is that what you guys call it? The Fantastic Five.
That's us.
Oh, my. So, hey, can you tell me, this is the standard question, can you tell me when you came into the world?
Well, I can tell you that Cameron, Toy, Dirk, and I have been involved since 2006. We came into Second Life. And that's where we all met. We met Ashton Nobilis in OS Grid, actually. And I believe he's been involved since 2005. He actually predates us in Second Life. So, he's been around a really, really long time. He did a lot of stuff there, and stuff that I was familiar with and didn't know was him until, we had gotten close with him. The bunch of us have been around since, they opened the door.
Yeah, now I believe I met Derek, right? Isn't he the little skinny avatar?
Yes, Dirk is the guy with the beard. Yes.
Yeah, right. He's boy, you can definitely tell he does a lot of work over there because he's to the point. You know what I mean?
He's a very, very structured.
Yep.
He's basically our grid script genius, as it were. Any of the residents that need any scripting stuff done or need help implementing SL scripts as they're importing them in, he's the guy that they all go to. He's fantastic at that.
Tell me about that. I noticed you told me that when people come there and they're selling a product, you have a script that you give them so that item is protected or securely. How does that work?
Well, basically, besides the actual what we had in place was the security that comes with Open Simulator, which is any file adjustment that allows you to denote what can and cannot be removed from the grid. The problem with that is in clothing, for example, you could wear a piece of clothing after you bought it and wear it back to your grid, and now you've got it. As long as you wore it with you. You couldn't take it out in your inventory, but if you had it on you, on your person, that was the failure of that way of securing that.
Oh.
So we came up with a script basically that when you come to our grid, it checks to see if you're a hypergrid user or if you're one of our users against our database. And if you're one of our users, then it allows you to buy it. If you're not, it sends you a message and says, I'm sorry, the content is for grid members only. And tells you how to join the grid if you want to join the grid.
Well, that's fantastic. Hey, so when did Littlefield start? When was the start date?
Well, the grid itself started in April of 2013. We're going to have our 2-year anniversary this April. We started out it actually started in SL. Dirk had a sim called Littlefield, and he ended up having to move from that sim because he was having some problems with some of the residents there that weren't didn't get along with what he was doing. He was running a mall, et cetera, and some various other things that just didn't work out. So he moved to a place called Stonehaven, which is the place that you've come to see us a few times on the patio.
Yeah,
That's Stonehaven.
as a matter of
That was originally Littlefield. And
I love that name too because I can get like
Stonehaven.
really stoned and I go over there stoned and I hang out. You know, I smoke all this really great mesh marijuana and I got a bong from Tommy over at Third Rock. And,
Oh,
you know,
there you go.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
all
Man,
set.
go over to
Yeah,
Stonehaven and hang out. You know.
they're all English. They're all English places. A matter of fact, we just had to explain this on the Hypergrid business site the other day because somebody wanted to play the devil's advocate and say that the word "little" in Littlefield is miscommunicated to people to mean that child avatars and children are permitted, which is the farthest from the truth because that's the opposite of our grid policy. We don't allow them at all.
Well,
And that if you confuse the word little in front of Littlefield to mean that it's child friendly, you got to screw loose. I'm sorry.
I believe
that's ridiculous.
That's quite an accomplished English name, if I'm correct.
Well, it is, and that's what I said. I said, look, it's named after an English village, and what do you think Washington came from? I said, when you see a Washington grid, does that mean that people wash things there? I mean, let's have a little bit of common sense about when you post things. But anyway, back to what your original question was, how long we've been around. We actually came to OS Grid first in 2012. And we had we had about 20% of what you see in Littlefield Grid in OS Grid. And we grew very fast there. We got a lot of people. We were renting regions to people. We had a lot of people in our group. We actually have still the largest, well, not anymore because OS Grid's down, but we have the largest group in OS Grid for communications and stuff like that, the Littlefield group. And it just got to be too big for OS Grid, really, is what it boiled down to. There was too much turmoil there. There was too much drama. And we decided we wanted to go out on our own and, support our people the way we wanted to support them. So after being there for about a year, we left and picked our content up and moved, basically.
Well, I'm sure glad you did. And I want people to know this right now. Littlefield is based around an adult structure. All right. And I noticed that. It's not about little ones. So that's a fact that you guys are well known as being a wonderful, you guys brought a lot of the BDSM community out that, people don't understand true BDSM. What I do is it's defining each other's goals in life, you and your partners and stuff. And that way you have better communication. Not one is better than the other. It's just how we work and get along with each other and how things are done. And people think it's all about kink, and it's not. It's it's about your role in life with your master or your submissive.
Sure. And it's not, that's not to say, I mean, a lot of people immediately think that's what our grid is. I mean, our grid is BDSM, kink, and that's it. And, if that's actually the farthest from the truth. We have a very big BDSM population because a lot of us who run the grid and a lot of people that came over with us from SL ran very popular BDSM sims, and we wanted a place where people could behave and not act like maniacs and idiots. I mean, what people see when they see BDSM or adult grid, they immediately think, naked women running around and a bunch of guys chasing down the street and people screwing, in the street. We don't do that. We separate everything. Even our adult mall with our adult content is a separate sim. And all of that content is not in the other. We have a mall that's 11 regions, and 10 of the regions are generic, clothes, whatever, avatar things, houses, whatever, furniture, whatever you would want. One sim, and it's denoted as adult, and before you even go in there. I mean, the whole grid is adult by nature, and it's adult only. We only permit adults in, but even adults, we don't want to offend anybody that may not want to see, bondage harnesses or, bondage crosses or cages or any of that kind of stuff. So we keep that away from everybody. And it's not a porno grid. And I know everybody thinks that. I ran into Steve Glacier, I think his last name is, at the Open Simulator conference. He's like, "Oh, you guys run that porno grid." I'm like, "See," I said, we do not run a porno grid. There's nothing pornographic going on there. I mean, you'll be hard pressed to walk around our grid and find anybody doing anything like that.
I know that. I've been there, and I love coming in there.
It's but that's not to say that we don't support it. We do. We just started last week. Every Wednesday, we're doing what we call a BDSM mixer for the BDSM folks there. So people that are interested in that can get together and meet submissives and dominants, and so we do that 3 hours in the midday and 3 hours at night. And that way, cool. if you're looking for a master or you're looking for a submissive, come there, hang out, meet up, go off and do whatever you want to do. But we found there's nowhere around where people are able to do that. And we thought that would be a good way. I hear all the time, I can't find a sub, I can't find a mistress, I can't find a master, because people have no way to connect there. So we thought this would be a good way to get everybody, here's the time, here's where it is, and here's the date every week. If you're looking for somebody, this is the place to go.
Well, if you look really close today, every one of my shows, I go to your little event and I drag it, and it scrolls across the bottom of the screen here.
Yep.
If you've been watching it, today I goofed up and it started too early, but that's okay. Yeah, I got to see your place twice. What's going on. Usually 2 or 3 times I try to get Littlefield to go across the screen. Yeah. Anybody that makes it easy enough for me to copy and paste.
We try. Yeah.
I'm gonna grab it. Because I'm doing a lot. It takes me 6 hours to put a show out. Okay,
sure.
So it's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know how you do these every day. To be honest,
I don't know either. It's a lot of coffee, a lot of really, really good looking pixels, or I'd never make it. So, really, I'd like to touch on. We know you guys are great grid operators, and you guys have one of the best technical grids, and we know Firestorm uses you as a test bed. Yeah. How did you get that started? How did you get involved with Firestorm being a test bed for you guys?
Well, actually, what had happened was I contacted Jessica Lyon back when we were in OS Grid, and I knew Jessica already from Second Life because I had helped. I was part of the Firestorm beta team back in SL, and I contacted Jessica and said, "Hey, I notice you guys have some implementation in Open Simulator, but not a lot. So here's what I'm thinking. Why don't you come on over to Open Simulator? We will give you a sim. You can get a presence there, and that way, if you need testing done, you have a place where you can test, do whatever you want. We'll give you, whatever you need, whatever tools you need." And she agreed. Now, what happened there was the OS Grid administration, we'll just leave it at that, was not exactly friendly at all towards Firestorm, period. They were not interested in them being there. They didn't want them there. It wasn't that they didn't want them there. They didn't care whether they were there or not. Now, in my opinion, having a viewer that's actually going to be on Open Simulator testing their product to make sure it works was a very valuable asset. That's how I saw it. However, the administration of OS Grid didn't see it that way. They let one of their users grief the Firestorm sim. I went to the administration and said, we're trying to do work over here. I'm trying to get Firestorm involved in being closer and working closer with the OpenSim development team, and you're letting your users grief their sim. And basically it was Nebadon basically said, what do you want me to do about it? I'm nothing. And that was another one of those things where I finally said, we got to get off this grid. And, we put our own grid together, and I called Jessica and I said, hey, listen, we're bailing out of OS Grid. We got to get out of there. They mistreat you guys. And she agrees. I mean, she was none too happy with the way OS Grid was treating Firestorm. It came up at the OpenSim conference, that, they were being mistreated. They're overlooked. And,
I tell you
it's not right, really.
I tell you what, I knew that we were going to have this talk today. So, before I got on this morning, I went ahead and, pulled their latest code today and built it. By the way, Jessica, your latest commit today went in there, I believe, yesterday it went in, with your latest, 64-bit plugin for your WebKit. Still broken, kid. But don't worry about it. I get it to work, cause I rebuild it and do it my way, but that's okay. And I know what it is, but you know what? You guys got the best viewer out there. I'm going to tell you right now, I couldn't do this show without this viewer. I would have to go back and patch in, get rid of the lines over my head. I would have to do all kinds of stuff. The Firestorm viewer is probably, as far as I'm concerned, is the best interface viewer there is. It's got a ton of stuff, but I only need to use certain areas of the viewer, and
Yes,
and you know what?
I agree.
I need everything to work in Linux for me, and that's what I do. And it's open source code. If you got a complaint, I stop complaining. I just grab the code and go do the best I can with it.
Well, sure.
And you know what? They do a great job. That's all I'm going to say is it's big. My God, it's 370 megabytes of code and art. Are you
Yes.
kidding me? It's huge.
Well, you gotta
Huge.
understand that viewer harkens all the way back to like the early Emerald, the Emerald viewer. And that's a long time ago for a third party viewer. They are the oldest of I believe they're the oldest of the third party viewers out there. And they just keep adding and adding and adding and adding and adding. And as it is, what they add is a lot of it because of Second Life. Okay. Now, just recently, and we announced this on our, we help run a G Plus group with Firestorm called FS to OS, which is a Firestorm to OS open sim, community. So if you have questions for Firestorm, you want to talk to them directly, that's how you can do it. Okay. And, they just brought somebody in that came and changed the code for Open Simulator, so their viewer is going to work now with legacy baking, because that's what we all have here. Second Life has put an edict in place that legacy baking is to be taken out of the viewer for all third-party viewers. So their viewer is going to be the only one that's going to work unless everybody else, gets on the stick and fixes that.
I'll be honest with you. Koku is on the ball with that. They do such a good job. The Kokua team I've followed them now for like almost 6 years, and the Kokua team really works hard. They have their own OpenSim build, and they test in OpenSim.
Well, right, but that's because they've always cared about OpenSim.
Exactly. And
what I mean?
The Kokua people have been. Oh, I just email him and it gets right back with me. Oh, he's out of Arkansas. Great guy,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I agree. I mean, the problem is that the Kokua doesn't get the exposure really that it doesn't have the exposure or the support team that Firestorm has. I mean, Firestorm supports 350,000 users. Okay, so
right. And people forget this. People don't know
that's a lot of stuff.
When you guys grab a viewer and you think, oh, this is an OpenSim viewer, well, trust me, it builds different, and Firestorm has the way they build theirs. The script does certain things with it. Kokua, actually, what you do is you change your bookmarks in your repo, and then that loads all different files. That is going to be your OpenSim build. It's designed to work with OpenSim. You get your legacy baking and everything. So, I mean, it's a big deal, and that's why you guys send them a donation once in a while. They will love you.
Well, I actually haven't used Kokua in a while. I mean, we don't generally, and this is just our, it's just for ease of support for us, but we don't generally support any viewers that don't have us in the grid list. We're in the Firestorm grid list, and we're in the Cool Viewer grid list. So I don't have to explain to everybody how to put a URI, login URI in. I mean, the users that I'm trying to bring into our grid, or the users we try to bring into our grid, are creative users and people that are community-based and are there to enjoy themselves. Not a bunch of propeller heads, not a bunch of hackers, not a bunch of people that want to go in there and tear the viewer apart and all kinds of stuff. I mean, if that's what you like to do, that's great. But a lot of our community are SL users that came from, I used to rent a house over here and I have a bunch of clothes in my inventory, and they want to do the same thing over here. They don't want to know what a login URI is. You know what I mean? So it's easier for me or for us from a support standpoint to put viewers on a grid where they open the viewer and they go grid list, drop down, Littlefield grid, and sign in. And that's it. I mean, I know a login URI is simple. I understand.
Okay,
but
so
to some people it's not.
Right. Here's the thing. I think you may be wrong, because I pulled the code last night and built Nikki Perrin's latest, the to the 2.5, and you may be in his list now.
Oh, okay. We
Now,
were.
I'm not sure,
That's
though.
why.
Don't
That's
hold me
why.
to it.
That's why it
Don't
hasn't been
hold
on
me
our
to
page.
it. Don't hold me to it.
Oh
But
no, I mean, and I'll take a look, because
you know what?
if it is in fact there, he'll be on our page
You
as a
know what?
suggested viewer.
If you go get a Bitbucket, go to the Bitbucket email. It's
All right,
as
I'll
easy
take
as
a look.
he'll just pop it in there. It's so simple to put that in the app
well,
settings. It's
I
nothing.
emailed the Cocoa team a year ago, or actually a year and a half ago, when we started the grid, and said, "Hey, can you include us in your grid list?" And we never got a response. So as far as we know, they're done. Now, Cool Viewer came to us and said, "We want to include you in the grid list." And I said, "Sure, go ahead." And as soon as they did, we put them on the thing. Now, I sent the same email to Singularity, and I'm not going to get into the
I didn't want to know what she
response that I got back from the Singularity folks, but the Singularity viewer will never be on our homepage.
Here's the thing with Singularity.
They don't want to have anything to do with OpenSim anyway.
Here's the thing. Singularity viewer is a Second Life viewer. People keep forgetting this.
Exactly.
And you know what? They are some of the best coders around. Don't get me wrong. They really are. Everybody watches what they're putting out because they're getting stuff to build in the newer GCCs long before anybody else is. It's if you know about it. So don't get me wrong, but keep telling people that go out there in the OpenSim with a Singularity build, and they say, you know, I've got these problems. You got a viewer designed for Second Life.
It's designed for Second Life, right?
They are designed for Second Life.
I mean, and that's all they had to say to me when they wrote back to me. I mean, I got a reply back that just went into a whole tirade about, if we did it for you, we're going to do it for everybody else, blah, blah, blah. And we're not playing favorites, and blah, blah. And if you guys don't like it, oh, well. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to even interact. If that's the kind of attitude you want, then, you know, enjoy SL until SL2 comes along and you guys don't have a job anymore. I don't care. You know, so that was it. And that was it for my communication with Singularity.
I don't know.
And frankly, we have a lot of problems with it on the grid.
I had no problem. I think I sent them a letter, an email 3 or 4 years ago. I said, hey, you guys want to work on this problem? They're like, you know, it's not our problem. I'm like, okay.
Exactly.
Okay. It's no biggie. I will work on it myself.
And, you know, well, we're starting to get a lot of users complaining that it doesn't work on the grid. They're like, you know, well, Singularity's failing, it crashes on me, I can't get it to do this, I don't know what happened here. And land tools don't work at all. You can't buy land. So, I mean, if you can't buy land, that's pretty basic. I mean, Firestorm fixed that problem a year ago. You know, so I don't know. But, you know, all that aside.
Can I ask you something? I like to ask something. What do you like to do in world? I mean, I know you come in here and but what do you really like to do? What kind of bowling do you do? I mean, you know, what do I mean? What do you really like to do?
I don't really do anything. I mean, the way we treat, and this goes for just about all of our residents, okay? And Dirk and I have talked about this before. You know, the way we treat the virtual world is it's exactly like what we would be doing in real life, except I don't have to get on an airplane and fly to Minneapolis to see Dirk at night. So I'm just there hanging out with my friends. I can go to basically another room, Littlefield grid, and log in and have my nightly hangout with Dirk and Toy and Leah and Amy Storm and a bunch of people that'll all come there and hang out, and we shoot the breeze about, you know, movies. Hey man, did you see this movie today? Oh, did you hear there's a storm coming? You know, or whatever. And I can do this with people all over the world, which is amazing. You know what I mean? And I don't have to leave the house to go anywhere. I can have a good time. I can be out in the middle of the night and it's no big deal. And, you know, it's great. I've run into some of my best friends, and I've met a lot of these people. We had a Littlefield admin meeting in October, in Philadelphia, and we all met in person and hung out. And I've met quite a few people from InWorld in person. However, you know, normally I couldn't do that with, I mean, Cameron is in Princeton, so I could with her. Toy lives in Australia. I'm sure not going to see her ever in person, you know. Dirk's in Minneapolis, so, and Ash is in South Carolina. So trying to get us together anyway, but in world, be impossible. Now I get a chance to have these friends from all over the place to hang out and shoot the breeze with, and they're right there. They're right around the corner at our house, basically, you know?
Well, you know, I saw a little drama the other day about your place.
Mm-hmm.
That scripts work at your place, and they don't work at other places, and you're keeping that as a trade secret. Could you want to elaborate on that?
No, we don't. What, regular scripts? No, you know what it is, and we talk about people with content too all the time with this. You have to make an effort to actually do things once in a while. Okay, if you want something to work, put the time in to fix it. Okay, LSL scripts do not work out of the box when you bring them in. 60% of the time when you bring them into Open Simulator, they just don't. X Engine is not the same as the LSL Mono Engine. It isn't. Okay, the LSL Mono Engine, and I'm not any kind of a scripter. I'm just, this is Dirk talking. Okay, is floppy. Okay, it lets you do a lot of things that you shouldn't be allowed to do in scripting to save memory or whatever the case may be. And the X Engine C# compiler wants nothing to do with stupid coding. Okay, so when you try to declare a variable and have it really mean 7 other variables somewhere, it's going to come back and give you an error. For example, we just found a really important error that's been like stalking us for years. We get these Boolean errors when we try to import an LSL script. What we found out was, and we were rewriting the whole script every time to try to fix this, the reason it didn't work was that the X Engine compiler doesn't know that tilde is an integer. Okay? So the fix is, after the tilde, put bracket, integer, end bracket. That's the fix. So go in your script, and if you have a tilde and it's giving you a Boolean error, put bracket, integer, end bracket. You've now fixed the script. It's not magic. I mean, you just have to actually put
the loop at all. It's just it's deadheading right there.
Well, right. You have to know. Yeah, you have to know I mean, but you know what? We scour the places for answers. Or Dirk and I'll sit and bang a script away for, days, and we'll go, hey. Oh, here's the problem. This thing doesn't know what an integer is, and that's how we fix it. And Dirk, actually, it was funny you should say, you must have been there when we were talking to Avia Bon about this the other day, because we had a state of the grid meeting, and she brought that up. And she says, no, the scripts I bring over from SL work. And I said, look, we'll fix that for you. And I said, and here's what we're going to do too. Dirk's actually going to have a class. We have a builders region called OBA, and that's where we do our mesh classes. We have Akard goes in and does a weekly mesh class. He's on holiday right now, but normally he does one all throughout the year. Great mesh classes. We have people there that do MLP classes, and Dirk is going to do a how to fix LSL scripts class at OBA once a week, and a note card. So people can do it on their own. It's not hard to do.
Yeah.
It's very simple. And it's only a few little quirky things.
I don't script very much.
And I don't either.
And I'll tell you what, I'll be honest with you. All the basic scripts have been written like 20 different times.
Right.
And so what you need to do is start understanding where you can go in and lead and adjust them.
Sure.
And understanding when you're adjusting them, what you just said. So, that's cool that you guys do that.
Yes.
So besides doing DJing and running a wonderful grid and sim and becoming a great being a good master to your submissives, what else is the direction? What direction would you like to see this wonderful Littlefield grid go? I mean, it's such a classic name, Stonehaven and Littlefield. I mean, it's so. I mean, I'm looking at these long fences of the old, the old rock fences that they have, the stone fences. You're thinking of this beautiful countryside of Stonehaven.
That's actually, I mean, for us, the key is we want the grid to feel like home to people. We were just talking to Avi about this last night. Everybody that comes to me goes, "Hey, I'm finally home." Because when we were in SL, a lot of people didn't want to leave SL because that was their home. They had their home sim. They felt like they were at home. They were safe. That's what they wanted. Okay. And that's what we want at Littlefield. I mean, frankly, we have a semi-closed grid. We approve people based on, a series of things that we check, and, not everybody gets in. So, 30% of the people that apply get in. Be honest. Okay.
Wow.
And, we want it to be a griefer free, family-ish oriented, and I don't mean family, kids and a dog. I mean family like you can feel like you're home, and a group that works together type grid. How big it gets, I don't care. I mean, I don't care if it ever gets any bigger than it is. If it does, that's great. We'll buy more hardware. If it doesn't, then we're happy because, our goal is only that everybody's having a good time there. They're enjoying themselves. They feel safe. Their content is safe. They have anything that they could possibly want, as far as content goes or scripting and everybody works together. So I really don't care how big it gets. We have no particular goal because we're not a business. We're in it because we want to give everybody what we wanted out of SL. Okay. So we've now finally got the environment that we wanted when we were in SL without Linden Labs hanging over our heads telling us what to do all the time. And now we're able to give that to other people. So if people want that, come to the grid. We'll give you the same thing. Inexpensive land, good support, good hardware, a good team of people that are watching it all the time, and a good community of people that'll help you out all the time.
Well, I tell you what, this has been a great interview. I have learned so much from you, Walter.
Yeah, thanks.
And
man.
You want to know, I do like getting over there. You guys like hanging out late at night.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's not a problem. If you do catch me coming out? I take my nap.
Mm-hmm.
I usually lay my little submissive down, my little slave down, and because she's over in the UK, and then I go take a nap, and then I come on over and hang with you. There's times when she'll pull an all-nighter, and I'll come over,
right.
and we'll both come over there and enjoy.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of night owls over there.
And so I will say one thing: I enjoy the true BDSM style because of it's not confusing. People have no clue what it is. It's about love in the community. There's so much love in that community, so much help. It's amazing. And I enjoy that. Now, I'm not saying that's what your grid's about, but that's what brings me to Littlefield because I need to hang around guys that are doms because guess what? I know the way they think. And I know they can only stand me for so long.
It's a very, from the BDSM standpoint, I mean, everybody that's there, primarily, I would say 85 to 90% of people that are there are real BDSMers. The German community, we have a heavy BDSM German community. They're all real life BDSM people, and that's why you don't see people walking around being gagged on a leash in a hogtie drug across the concrete, because you wouldn't do that in real life, and when we don't either, because you just don't do it. It's stupid, and that's why the subs aren't getting their ass kicked or mistreated or laying in a corner somewhere like you see in SL all the time. I mean, SL, I was really disturbed when I first went to SL and saw what their concept of BDSM was. So I was like, wow, really? Is this what you think it is? And we decided we wanted to do better here. And I'm not saying people can't do that. If you're on your own sim and you want to drag your sub by the hair and drag her around through the mud, gag the blindfold on, that's your problem. But I don't want to see it. Don't do it don't do it.
I have to be honest now. There was one time when the collar was a good thing because their computer was so slow.
Right, dragging them along.
It was like they would just hang on.
Well, sure. Yeah, and you know what? And that's okay. But when the whole thought process that the sub has no mind of their own, that they don't think at all, that they're basically furniture, that whole mindset's got to go. And that's the SL.
If you don't think, if the first time you say somebody that a submissive or a slave is weak, well, I'm going to tell you what, I want you to go look at some of the most famous models and famous people in SL.
Sure.
And I want you to read what they are.
Right.
They have defined their roles in life, and they're comfortable in it, and they have support from the top and from the bottom. And people don't know that. Go take a look at Miss Virtual World.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I don't get in trouble for saying that. But just
you'll be ostracized now.
But no, it's not. It's in there. It's there, and they're not hiding it. And you want to know what? It's all through that industry because they've defined their roles and
Sure. Being a sub doesn't mean that you're, if you look, I mean,
if you get on your knees and do it.
Well, if you've walked around Littlefield, I know 80% of the Littlefield public regions, every house and all the landscaping and everything that you see on those sims is designed by Cameron Darkstone. Okay. she's a genius when it comes to sim development. Her sim design is it's just amazing. Okay. And she's submissive. She's fine. I mean, I don't have to guide her around and tell her how to do things. She does what she needs to do. She's a very strong person, says Toy. I mean, you've run into Toy before. Toy will rip your arm off if you're talking wrong to her. It doesn't mean that she's not submissive. It just means that she's a regular person, has her own personality, and that's how it is in real life. And this is what people fail to realize. They don't realize that these people are not what you see in 50 Shades of Grey or in the Story of O or any of those magazines that you read. That's not the BDSM DS thing, and people tell me I'm wrong, and that's fine. If you want to tell me I'm wrong, that's your business. But that's how I see it. I think you probably see it the same way.
You don't have to be.
Your sub's a perfect example.
You don't have to be a male to be a dominant human being.
Right.
It's just defining your role in life. And the communication, once you define that, the communication's fantastic.
Yeah. We have some wonderful dominant women in DOMs, as it were, in Littlefield. As a matter of fact, oddly enough, and we always laugh because Second Life is so completely reverse of what goes on in OpenSim. We have more DOMs than subs in OpenSim. And there are more female DOMs in OpenSim than there are male dominance in OpenSim in our grid.
And you have to, a lot of men do not respect that. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You realize there was a vampire that's teaching a class in there about this, and she's a real person that was actually at the university that I'm by here, okay? And people don't know that. These people are intelligent.
Sure.
Communicative people that are actually teaching real life studies in real life that come in here to bring this knowledge in.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I was in a couple of magazines when we were in SL because we used to run a learning sim called the BDSM Workshop in SL. Right. And we were having weekly munches like they used to have and teaching people protocol and all that kind of stuff. I mean, and we actually have a BDSM workshop in Littlefield. The community is kind of getting on their feet, so we haven't really done much with it, but we have rooms and books and stuff there. Like we have a big Gorian community, okay? Gorian is not my thing. I'm not interested in it, but I have some Gorian friends that are quite nice, and the gore that's in Littlefield is entirely different than the gore that you see in SL. And if you want to learn about it, we've got a whole library full of like all the Gorian books and, all kinds of stuff. And we have a couple of Gorian people who will tell you all about it and what that lifestyle is about. And that's what we wanted. We wanted people to be able to learn things, from people that are actually doing it. And here's a person that's doing it. Talk to them. They'll tell you what they feel about it, what they think. They're not going to tell you this is what it is because there is no book about any of this, so, but they will at least try to guide you based on what their feelings are on it. And, we've got tons of stuff for people to learn. Anybody who wants to learn can come over there. And I've got a lot of DOMs that are available that are hanging around. Any of you males.
I would love to see an OpenSim version. I would love to see the OpenSim version of, ACES. I don't know if you remember ACES.
Yes, I remember it.
And some of these are real professors that go in there and teach.
Yes.
And there's some fantastic stuff. It's about support and understanding the human nature.
We're working on that. Yeah. That's exactly what we want to do.
But ACES is great. ACES is great. And it's, it's a total, people can use that for a support group also. It's amazing. That's exactly what people should come into these worlds for, is for the support group. People don't realize that you need support in life,
Yeah.
And that's what it's about support. And I believe that's what the BDSM community brings. The true BDSM community brings,
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I couldn't agree more.
Walter, this has been a fantastic interview. I hope I get a lot of it in.
Thanks for having me, man.
It's been our pleasure having you here there, Walter. And hey, everybody, that's the show. You all have a great day, and we'll catch you back there Sunday. That's right. Take care.